Welcome to CEO Interviews, a production of AGORACOM in which we take the time to speak with CEOs and executives of small cap public companies making great news. With us today, again, I'm very to have Don Bubar. He's President and CEO of Avalon Rare Metals. The company trades on both the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange under the symbol AVL on both markets. Now, for those of you who are new to the company, as the name may suggest, Avalon is focused on rare metal deposits in Canada with 3 advanced stage projects. It's 100% Nechalacho Deposit is in Thor Lake, Northwest Territories. It's exceptional in its large size and enrichment in the scarce, heavy, rare earth elements. Avalon is also advancing its Separation Rapids Lithium Minerals Project in Kenora, Ontario. But today we're here to talk about its East Kemptville Tin-Indium Project. Don, welcome to the show.
Good to be back, George.
Don, you put out some news the other day that you're starting a $1.3 million work program on the East Kemptville Tin-Indium Project in southwestern Nova Scotia. Just give us the basics as to what that $1.3 million is going to achieve, what you're looking to do.
Yeah, what we're hoping to do there is complete all the work necessary to allow us to finish a preliminary economic assessment that meets the requirements under 43101 by the end of this year. And the components of the program that allow us to do that are a diamond drilling program, some 2,000 meters, with the main objective of recovering a sample for bench scale metallurgical process development work. Doing that metallurgical work and the environmental studies needed to complete the picture for that PEA.
Right. So for the most part, that sounds like the standard work that some advanced stage companies go through. But what I really like about the press release is a quote in there in which you said Avalon has the potential through East Kemptville to make Nova Scotia the tin capital of North America again. So that's a pretty lofty goal, but obviously something you really believe in. What is about East Kemptville that has that kind of potential?
Well, we think that that crown is up for grabs because there is no significant tin production in North America right now. And as North America's only ever primary tin producer, East Kemptville had that crown back in the 1980s. And it's up for grabs to reassume that title as the tin capital of North America. And we think there's a great opportunity to do that with the resource that's in the ground there at East Kemptville and the way the market is evolving for tin right now.
Well, let's go right to that question. I was going to say that for later, but you talked about the way the market is evolving for tin. So, East Kemptville was, as you mentioned earlier, pretty successful, but had to be shut down because the price of tin had fallen below $3 a pound. Today, you're looking at double that price for tin. So what's going on in this on the demand side for tin that started to drive prices and therefore make East Kemptville a great project for you?
Well, the demand side has changed in a very significant way. In the 1980s, the main use of tin was for tin plating, your traditional tin can. But now that's a relatively minor demand for tin compared to its main demand driver, which is use in lead-free solders. They use tin to make solders on electronic circuit boards. So it's an integral part of the circuit board in any modern electronic device that we know the consuming public need more and more in their everyday lives. So that's a whole new dimension on the demand side that didn't exist in the 1980s. And that demand now is continuing to grow along with the growth in demand for consumer electronic products and other applications of these lead-free solders.
Does it look like demand? Have you got any general figures on what the demand for tin is going to look like over the next 5 and 10 years? Do you expect it, given the advanced technology, to continue compound annual growth?
Yeah, I think, most of the forecasters are predicting growth year over year, sort of 2 or 3%, kind of along with global demand trends in applications like that. But there's a lot of upside in terms of new emerging applications for tin as well. It's very much a specialty metal. and they're just discovering new ways to use it in other new technology. For example, that's one of the things that can be used to increase efficiency in lithium-ion batteries. There's an application in fuel catalysts to create more efficient combustion of fuel in automobiles, and many other similar potential applications are emerging out there.
Let's go back to the actual work that you're going to be doing. Given the history of East Kemptville, what is this new work program going to tell you above and beyond what you already know about East Kemptville? What are you looking to discover?
Well, it's not going to tell us a lot more than we already know, actually. We did a conceptual study that was published last winter that gave us a pretty good picture on what things will look like, could look like going forward. But we hadn't done enough process test work on the flow sheet to recover tin and the other byproduct metals to tell us what the recoveries might be. And we're very motivated to do that work because there's been considerable advances in technology on recovering tin, and we would certainly want to take advantage of those in the new process flow sheet. And we think we'll be able to achieve much better recoveries than they did historically, and hopefully reduce the overall cost compared to what some of the initial forecasts were from the very early conceptual study we did last winter.
So naturally, you're going through this process with a vision towards production at some point, and you may not have a specific date. Obviously, it's too early. But can you give us an idea that if everything goes well with the PEA that's going to be done according to the press release by November of this year, and if everything goes well with the feasibility that you're expecting to begin in first quarter 2016, do you have a general ETA for when the company might be in production, when East Kemptville may be put back into production?
Yeah, if everything went well without any significant delays in the permitting process or in terms of accessing capital to complete the feasibility study, it could be done in 3 to 4 years. So I think 2019 is not an unrealistic target date for us to look at right now for potentially reestablishing production at East Kemptville.
Now, you've also got the significant advantage of great community support, because we all know there are a lot of headlines out there from different companies that are having difficulty advancing projects in Canada because of issues within certain communities. But you're not experiencing that. In fact, you're getting the complete opposite. Tell us about what kind of support you're getting from the community there in Nova Scotia.
We're getting tremendous support. It's really gratifying as an emerging producer in the sector to see so much support from the general community. Southwestern Nova Scotia is a depressed economy right now. The traditional industries have been fishing and forestry, which have not been growing. Forestry has been declining, and they really need some new investment in industrial development to support the economy, maintain the population, and see the economy grow. And people remember when East Kemptville was in production too, and they remember what an important contributor it was to the economy during the 6 years it was in production. It was the biggest, apparently it was the biggest municipal tax revenue generator they've ever seen, and people remember it well for all those reasons. And given the fact that it's a brownfield site, it doesn't have the same issues that sometimes greenfield sites do in terms of environmental concerns about new impacts of mining. They see redeveloping an old site as nothing but a positive for the local community there. And so the issues that we often face in the mining industry about achieving social license are completely different in southwestern Nova Scotia at that site.
And who would have known, who would have figured over there a few years ago that not only would they be returning potentially to tin production, but in fact become a bit of a high-tech center, given the fact that it's not just tin plating, but it's the product ultimately being produced is going to be used to power some pretty great high tech around the world.
Yeah, and another thing that we've sort of highlighted as a possibility is actually going a little bit further downstream in the tin supply chain, and potentially further refining the concentrate to produce tin metal, tin ingot. And there's a pretty good incentive for doing that. Tin is designated as a conflict mineral under the Dodd-Frank Act in the United States and under similar legislation being enacted in the EU. And so the end users of tin in the electronics industry now have to audit their supply chains to ensure that the tin they're using is not sourced from a conflict region, typically in Central Africa. So Nova Scotia offers the possibility of potentially producing conflict-free tin, which may be of real value to consumers in the marketplace going forward as they are under pressure to meet the requirements of the legislation on conflict minerals.
Well, Don, congratulations to your team for continuing to advance East Kemptville. You've got 3 advanced stage projects, and I think you guys continue to do a fantastic job at moving all of them along at a very good, judicious rate. So congratulations on this recent announcement, and I'm sure we're going to have you on quite a number more times in the next 12 months to continue discussing the advancements at East Kemptville.
Thanks, George. I'll be delighted to come back and provide further updates to the AGORACOM audience out there as we progress East Kemptville and Separation Rapids Lithium Project, which is coming along really nicely too.
You've been watching Don Bubar. He's President and CEO of Avalon Rare Metals. The company trades on the stock symbol AVL on both the New York Stock Exchange and the Toronto Stock Exchange. If you want to get more great information about the company, make sure to visit their website, avalonraremetals.com, and make sure you get to AGORACOM, punch in the company's name or symbol to watch all the previous interviews we've done with Don and potentially start collaborating with other shareholders of the company in a monitored environment. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great day, and we'll see you again soon.